Hey, what's going on, guys? Felix here from the Podcasting Secrets and the Shopify Masters Podcast. And I want to talk to you about whether you should pay attention to your competition or not, whether you should pay attention to competing podcasts or not, and how you should spend your time. So whenever I'm on a pursuit to do something, whether I'm starting a business, starting a podcast, starting a website, I always start off confident. I start off confident by having my own ideas, my own vision, my own creativity, and getting started, getting rolling. I feel good. And all of a sudden, because I spend time in that space, spend time working on it, I'm going to get exposed to the competition, right? People that are like me, that are exactly like me, that are offering the same thing, going after the same customers, offering similar services. I'm going to start bumping into these people. And that's when I think I start getting led astray. Because on the outside, when I first start, I always feel like I know what I'm doing. I'm making a lot of progress. I think it's a lot of people that are look at me from the outside, think the same thing, but on the inside, once I start bumping into the competition, that is when I start making the wrong decisions. Once I start bumping into competition, I immediately start seeing what am I lacking that they got right. I start seeing their highlight reel, right? Because they're hiding the way that they feel too. They're hiding the way that things aren't working for them too. So they're hiding the way that things are working for them, and I'm only seeing what's actually working. So I start feeling like, oh, I must not be getting something. They must have something figured out that I don't have figured out, and that's when I start going on this path of following and reacting rather than using my own intuition, and rather than using my own creativity, rather than carve my own path. I spend time reacting and copying sometimes what they're doing because I feel like they must have something figured out, because I got this skewed perspective on their level of success. So I started thinking that they must have it figured out better than I do, so I better copy them. So you can see why this leads me down the wrong path, because I'm abandoning my true self in order to follow someone else's path just for the sake of thinking that it will lead me to success. So I had this epiphany about it recently because I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast where he was interviewing one of his comedian friends named Greg Fitzsimmons. And Greg Fitzsimmons and Joe Rogan came up at the same time, and what they said that was what led to their success early on, where they didn't know if they knew what they were doing, they didn't know they had a future in it or not. What let them down? What they could have done was they could have just looked at everyone else that's more successful than them and wonder why they aren't successful, and probably start thinking that maybe there's something inherently wrong with them. Maybe there's something that was wrong with them that they'll never be able to be successful because everyone else is. Why can't they figure it out? So they could have gone down that path and then just gave up on comedy altogether, and their whole lives would change. They wouldn't have the kind of success, financial success, career success, creativity success that they have today if they went down that path. The other path, though, that Greg Fitzsimmons talked about was that he just stopped paying attention to his competitors, whether they were outward competitors or they were even colleagues that were doing similar things. He stopped paying attention to them because he started recognizing that he would start comparing himself to them. He would start copying them. He would start obsessing over their progress in comparison to his and focusing on the wrong thing, rather than focusing on the art, rather than focusing on his comedy, rather than focusing, in my case, rather than focusing on my podcast or my business. I'll be so obsessed with watching what someone else is doing, and because I'm consuming so much of what they're doing, I stop being so much myself and start reacting, start being more like them, which you never want to be a me too, right? You want to try to be your authentic self. That is where you differentiate, and that's what I learned. I learned that sometimes sometimes there are people out there that can just watch the competition, watch what other people are doing, and then not be negatively impacted by it, and just take the lessons and run with it. For me, I think for a lot of people, and if you're the same, I got to be honest with myself and say I am likely to be to doubt myself and to be down on myself and to be a follower if I surround myself with a lot of people that are in my space, and I'll start trying to copy them and stop trying to be myself. So that's what I started doing. I stopped following the competition. I stopped following what other people are doing. They can do their own thing, and by doing that, I can isolate myself and just focus specifically on what is it that I'm doing, what is my creative spin on what I'm doing, without outside influences, and only following my own intuition, my own head, my own ideas, and then of course getting feedback from the market. And those are the two important opinions that I care about, is what I believe is going to work, and then how is the market responding to what I put out there. So whether it be a podcast or a business, a course that I'm launching, I'm no longer going to pay attention to competition. I'm just going to focus on myself. And there's that funny meme that you see out there where I think it was it was an Olympics where it was two swimmers in a swim lane, one right next to each other. So Michael Phelps being the one, and then there's another competitor next to him. And Michael Phelps is like focused on his goal, focused on swimming fast as possible, straightforward. And then there's the competition who's in second place right now trying to catch up to him, and he's staring at Michael Phelps. He's so focused on Michael Phelps that his attention is not focused on trying to go forward as much as possible. He's looking to the left a little bit, and that little distraction, looking to the left, it might be enough to derail your progress. So Michael Phelps, a winner, a champion, focused on reaching his goal, and someone that comes in second place is focused on winners, right? So that was a really important lesson for me, was that I got to stop focusing on other people. I got to focus on my goals, and in order to do that, I got to cut out access, got to cut out exposure from competition. Meaning I'll stop following them. I'll almost mute them. I pretty much won't mute them on social media, but I am friends with them or associate with them, and just so I can allow myself the breathing room to just be myself. So hopefully it helps you out if you feel like you can be maybe a victim of competition. You don't have to focus on them. Just focus on yourself and focus on what you're doing. Don't focus on others. So if you're thinking about launching a podcast and you're constantly obsessed about what the competition is doing, what is already out there, don't think about that. Just cut out your life. It's not going to be impact. It's not going to help you at all. Focus on doing what you think is right and make progress that way. So hopefully it helps you out, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.